Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I am here to review the Pro Wrestling Illustrated March 1985 issue, the 1984 year in review. So let's get to reviewing. Of course, the ever-present table of contents. Between the Falls, where the fans write the magazine. Got a picture of Ronnie Garvin with the national title. Ringside with Bill Apter talks about Kerry Von Erich winning the American Heavyweight Championship, the World Class American Heavyweight Championship from Gino Hernandez. King's quote with Peter King. It's like he's giving his they're called the first annual, not necessarily the PWI awards, where he gives his own little awards. And I guess in a way, this is kind of almost like the beginning of the unofficial awards that the fans will put out for Pro Wrestling Illustrated later on, that the fans would vote for. I mean, that they would come up with themselves. Yeah, I think this is kind of like the start of it, because a lot of these stuff seem like things that seems like the official, non-official PWI awards. Like they got the nicest champion, Rick Martel, most physically fit wrestler, Kevin Von Erich, most exciting wrestler, Jimmy Snuka, most exciting tag team, the Fabulous Ones, future champion, Magnum TA. Time to get back to the gym. Time to get back to the gym trophy. The Samoans, comeback of the year, Tommy Rich, most conceited wrestler, Paul Orndorff, exciting but predictable award, Hulk Hogan, wrestler we'd most like to see get laryngitis, Roddy Piper, most shocking attitude change, Wahoo McDaniel, most pleasing attitude change, Sergeant Slaughter, most unsuccessful move, the Freebirds coming to the WWF, Enough is Enough award, Cyndi Lauper, and Scarface Memorial Scar Tissue Award, a tie between Dusty Rhodes and Carlos Colon. Yeah, this is pretty much the um what the unofficial awards will later become. This is what the unofficial awards would later become in PWI, that the fans would write. Oh, also, best hairstyle, Jesse Ventura, most underrated tag team, Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, most underrated wrestler, Jerry Lawler. So yeah, this is basically what the unofficial awards would become. On Assignment with Liz Hunter, and it's about her talking about the popularity of Kerry Von Erich and just how popular he was and how he is in 1984, I should say, and just him being surrounded everywhere he goes, he's being surrounded by fans. Dressing Room Confidential. This is when Stu Sachs talks to the wrestlers after they won their awards, achievement awards. Back issues of The Wrestler, back issues of Inside Wrestling. Off the Top Rope with Stan Shockett, where he talks his stuff, talk the type of stuff that he always talks about, talks smack, I should say. 1984 year in review. 1984 year in review. 1984 was a very special and unique year. This year began with a disturbing twinge of apprehension, for the year of George Orwell had finally arrived. Everyone was looking over their shoulder for Big Brother. So it talks about Sergeant Slaughter turning and becoming a good guy. Terry Taylor fighting with Crusher Khrushchev to get the television title. Talks about Nikita Koloff and Ivan turning on Don Kernodle. It talks about Dusty Rhodes and his TCB tour, Taking Care of Business 1984 tour. Year in review, they just talk about a lot of the numbers, the money, the bounty matches and everything that happened. The year in review, the numbers of 84. Talks about Wahoo McDaniel turning to a bad guy. Article of Mad Dog Vachon in Esquire, July 84 issue of Esquire. Talk about how the NWA World Tag Team titles changed hands a bunch of times. From Bob Orton and Don Kernodle to Mark Youngblood and Wahoo McDaniel to Jack and Jerry Briscoe to Wahoo and Youngblood again and to Ivan Koloff and Don Kernodle and then to Dusty Rhodes and Manny Fernandez. Talks about Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2's fallout. Talk about how it was a tough year for Tommy Wildfire Rich. Talks about the different versions of the Fabulous Blondes. Of the first one, I guess, was Eric Embry and Ken Timms. And then in Southwest, it was Eric Embry and Dan Greer. And then in Georgia, it was Rip Rogers and Ted Oates. And in Florida, it was Dusty Rhodes and Ken Timms. So a bunch of different versions of the Fabulous Blondes, I should say. And in memory of, David Von Erich, Artino Apollo, Brute Bernard, Lord Layton, Vince McMahon Sr., El Santo, and Frank Tunney. Talks about Hulk Hogan hosting MTV. Talks about how Bob Backlund went to Pro Wrestling USA after the WWF. And he talks about how they can take the belt from him, but they'll never take his title away. The championship changes. Talks about all of the titles that changed hands in 84. Talks about how the fans got Gordon Solie and Ole Anderson's championship wrestling from Georgia back on TV after Vince McMahon's WWF took over the time slot. And all the fans complained and brought and Turner brought back Ole Anderson's show. Forces to be reckoned with in 1985. The Rock and Roll Express, Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA, the Fabulous Ones. Okay, Pro Wrestling Illustrated Achievement Awards, 1984. Wrestler of the Year, Ric Flair. First runner-up, Hulk Hogan. Second runner-up, Kerry Von Erich. Third runner-up, Rick Martel. Hulk Hogan was a big deal. Of course, just Hulkamania was really starting to take over, but the Ric Flair was just every man. Everybody loved Ric Flair. He was everywhere defending that title. Kerry Von Erich had a big year in 1984. These magazines loved the Von Erichs, and Kerry won a championship. And even though it was only for like 3 weeks, the fans loved Kerry, and this was enough to make him second runner up. And then Rick Martel had just won the Rick Martel won the AWA World Title in '84, so that made him a top guy. Tag Team of the Year for the second year in a row, the Road Warriors. First runners up, the Von Erichs. Second runners up, the Fabulous Ones. Third runners up, the Rock and Roll Express. You know, the Road Warriors, of course, the beginning of their dominance. Now they're the end of the AWA. They're the AWA World Tag Team Champions and the most over tag team in the world right at that time. So, of course, they deserve that award. And like I said, '84, the people loved the Von Erichs, and the Fabulous Ones were good. And then the Rock and Roll Express were just starting to get their popularity going. Most improved wrestler, Billy Jack. I guess he wasn't Billy Jack Haynes at this time, but just Billy Jack. Most improved was the most improved wrestler of the year. Then they got posters of most improved wrestler of the year, Billy Jack. Poster of Kerry Von Erich in his match versus Ric Flair, where Kerry beats him for the title. And poster of Roddy Piper as most hated wrestler of the year. Our first runners up for most improved wrestler of the year, Magnum TA, Rick Martel, Ronnie Garvin. All of them had a great breakout year in '84. You know, this probably, if you think about it in hindsight, Magnum TA probably should have won this because I think even though his career was shorter than Billy Jack, I think he overall had a better run than Billy Jack. The little run that Magnum had was better than Billy Jack Haynes. At least I think so. You know, who do you think had a better career, Magnum TA or Billy Jack Haynes? You know, write that in the comments if you want. You know, I kind of think even though Billy Jack's career probably spanned it longer, Magnum had a better impact for a shorter amount of time. Yeah, Rick Martel and Ronnie Garvin. You know, Rick Martel, he was like just winning the AWA title was good, but it just wasn't. I guess the AWA was it wasn't on its way down, but I don't think Rick Martel was the right person to be champion at that time. When you had somebody as colorful as Hulk Hogan, I mean, as charismatic as Hulk Hogan and as charismatic as Ric Flair. I just don't know if Rick Martel was that guy at that time. And of course, Ronnie Garvin, third runner-up. Most popular wrestler of the year, Kerry Von Erich. First runner-up, Hulk Hogan. Second runner-up, Dusty Rhodes. Third runner-up, Sergeant Slaughter. You know, once again, this is before I started watching wrestling, so I don't know. I mean, because you kind of think, how could anybody be more popular than Hulk Hogan? But Kerry Von Erich was real big. I guess in Texas was real big at that time. World Class was real big, and you know, like I said, the magazines loved Kerry Von Erich. And you know, he won the World Heavyweight Championship, even though it's just a little bit. You know, people just love this guy. So if these awards are on up and up, you know, he won not by a lot, but he did win. And I know the magazines at the time kind of had a beef with Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I think at this time still had beef with the WWF over Vince McMahon kicking them out. So that could have also been a part of it. But yes, Kerry Von Erich is the most popular wrestler of the year over Hulk Hogan. Most hated wrestler of the year, Roddy Piper. Yeah, he seemed pretty hated from everything you read about. Yeah, he deserved that. First runner up, Kevin Sullivan. Second runner up, Tully Blanchard. Third runner up, Iron Sheik. Yeah, that seems about right. They all were very hated. Inspirational wrestler of the year, Sergeant Slaughter. You know how he was a heel, then he changed ways because he believed in America and thought Iron Sheik was disrespecting America. So he became a good guy and had the legendary feud with the Iron Sheik, and that made him win Inspirational Wrestler of the Year. First runner-up, Kerry Von Erich. Second runner-up, Kevin Von Erich. Third runner-up, Bob Backlund. Rookie of the Year, Mike Von Erich. First runner-up, Nikita Koloff. Second runner-up, Crusher Khrushchev. Third runner-up, Kevin Kelly. You know, the thing with Mike, because a lot of people crap on Mike. If you really think about Mike's career, because obviously he did not have a long career, his 1984 was his only year where he had only one full uninterrupted year of wrestling, and that was 84. Because he started in late 83, then he had all of 84, then he got hurt in 85. You know, he had the shoulder injury, then that led to his toxic shock syndrome. And then he came back in 86, and after that, you know, he was probably shouldn't have been wrestling in the first place after that. And then he killed himself in early 87. So he only had one full year of wrestling, one full year of uninterrupted wrestling. So it's hard to become a big time, to really learn how to wrestle after only having one full year. So a lot of people craps on him, but he didn't have a long time to really develop. So, I mean, of course, the fans wanted him to win, so I'm not knocking him, but I'm just saying, you know, a lot of people are hard on him, and it's just like he didn't have a lot of time to really develop. You know, who knows if he would have had like 3 or 4 or 5 years, he might have. I mean, I don't know. He could have been a good wrestler. You never know. First runner-up, Nikita Koloff, and second runner-up, Crusher Khrushchev. You know, it's like Nikita Koloff obviously he had a big year, like from 84 to 88 was his big years, then he kind of faded away. Crusher was consistently, but then once Demolition, you know, he's Crusher, Darso, then in Mid-South, and Crusher Khrushchev and NWA. I think he has a run in Florida too. Then he becomes Smash and Demolition, which has a big run from like 88 to 91. And it's kind of like who had a better run. I mean, because Nikita had a big run for a short amount of time, but Crusher had a big run well, not a big run, but a consistently nice run for a longer period of time. So, and you looking at this in hindsight, it's like, I don't know, maybe Crusher should have won Rookie of the Year, because I think he might have had a better career than all of these guys. So, and I seen pictures of Kevin Kelly when he started, and he had the look, you know, the future nails. He had the look, but I don't know. I guess, you know, I didn't see too much. I've seen him wrestle, but he didn't stand out or anything. But in hindsight, maybe Crusher should have won this award. Who do you think if you think had a better career, Crusher or Nikita Koloff? If you want to comment below and hear your opinion about it. Because I think Crusher kind of had overall, I think Crusher had a better career than Nikita. Barry Darso had a better run than Nikita Koloff. Manager of the Year, Precious Paul Ellering. First runner-up, Jimmy Hart. Second runner-up, Jim Cornette. Third runner-up, James J. Dillon. You know, Paul Ellering, you know, had the Road Warriors. The Road Warriors were one of the biggest acts in the world. Yes, you can't argue with that. Jimmy Hart, though, was great in Memphis. Jimmy Hart, when I first started watching Jimmy Hart, he was already in the WWF. And he was great then. But then to go back to see his stuff from Memphis, and his Memphis stuff was tremendous. So it's like, you know, I can understand him being a top runner-up because his stuff in Memphis is great. And of course, you got the beginning of the Jim Cornette era, and Jim Cornette was great. And J.J. Dillon was okay. J.J. Dillon was good with the Horsemen, but his other stuff was, yeah. But, you know, he was good with the Horsemen. But, yeah, I would keep Paul. I'm glad Paul Ellering won. But, you know, I could easily see Jimmy Hart winning this. Match of the Year, Kerry Von Erich versus Ric Flair for the NWA World Title, where Kerry beats Flair for the title. You know, a lot of people like, because I think Ric Flair didn't say he really didn't like this match, but I thought it was awesome once I saw it. I mean, not the most technical match, but it just the environment the environment was really great with all those fans, and then him winning the match for his brother. So I thought that match was great. First runner-up, Rick Martel beats Jumbo Tsuruta for the AWA World Championship. Hulk Hogan beats Iron Sheik for the WWF Championship. In a match, Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat tonight, Night at Champions at the Meadowlands Arena. I think it was the NWA's first appearance in New York in 20 years. I think that match is actually WWE Vault has a history of Flair versus Steamboat rivalry, and I think that match is on there. So I have not seen that match yet, so I need to go look on there. The PWI's editor award goes to David Von Erich, of course, because David passed away earlier in the year, and everybody talked about how great he was and how he's going to be the future world champion. And would have been interesting to see if he would have stayed alive. If he would have, stayed alive, how would his run have? How would Ric Flair have been affected? Would David have got a longer run with the title than Kerry did? Would David staying alive had helped World Class become the bigger company? Maybe World Class would have been the second biggest company, behind WWF. Maybe it would have been big. Maybe with David still around, maybe World Class would have been a bigger company than Jim Crockett Promotions. Maybe all three of them would have been big. Maybe that World Class would have replaced AWA as one of the big three. I mean, we just don't know. Because David was supposed to. Was the smart guy that was going to take over the business from Fritz. Maybe they would have had to do a Dave Von Erich heel turn. So imagine a Von Erich versus Von Erich in 84 or 85. That would have been crazy. Heel David versus a babyface Kevin or Kerry. That would have been money. So, him dying really changed a lot. Maybe changed the industry in some way. So, it's a shame to see him, think what could have been. A continuation of Between the Falls. Picture of Chris Adams and Gary Hart. A picture of Kim Butera. Ringside talks about King Kong Bundy and Crusher Blackwell winning a tag team battle royal. Talks about Jimmy Garvin and Precious moving to the AWA. The continuation of King's Court, his awards. The John McEnroe Most Immature Athlete, Tully Blanchard. He didn't pass the Jane Fonda workout. Abdullah the Butcher. He's a bad guy. He's a good guy. He's a bad guy. It's Buzz Sawyer. Least publicized champions, Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis. NWA Announcer of the Year, Gordon Soley. AWA Announcer of the Year, Mike Shields. WWF Announcer of the Year, a tie between Vince McMahon, Jack Reynolds, Roger Kent, Bruno Sammartino, Angela Mosca, Blackjack Mulligan, Tony Guerrero, Red Bastien, Gorilla Monsoon, Gene Oakland, Lord Alfred Hayes, Freddie Miller, and Pat Patterson. They're so awesome, it's unfair. The Road Warriors. He'll Come Alive in 85, Mike Rotundo. Upset of the Year, Greg Valentine wins the Intercontinental title from Tito Santana. So just a bunch of things like that. And it's like the precursor to the unofficial awards. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he did that and thought, it would be great if the fans had an awards like that. If fans had come up with stuff like that. So that's what I'm thinking. On Assignment, continuation of On Assignment, where Liz is talking about Kerry Von Erich's popularity. Dressing Room Confidential with Stu Sachs talking to the winners of the awards. The official ratings. Top 10, number 1, Ric Flair, number 2, Rick Martel, number 3, Dusty Rhodes, number 4, Hulk Hogan, number 5, Kerry Von Erich, number 6, Wahoo McDaniel, number 7, Greg Valentine, number 8, Magnum TA, number 9, Andre the Giant, number 10, Kevin Von Erich. Top tag teams, the AWA World Tag Team Champions, the Road Warriors, number 2, the NWA World Tag Team Champions, Dusty Rhodes and Manny Fernandez, Number 3, the Mid-Southern Tag Team Champions, the Fabulous Ones. Number 4, the WWF Tag Team Champions, Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis. Number 5, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express. Number 6, the Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions, Ron Bass and Black Bart. Number 7, the U.S. Tag Team Champions, Crusher Khrushchev and Jim Neidhart. Number 8, the World Class Tag Team Champions, Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton. Number 9, the National Tag Team Champions, Rip Rogers and Ted Oates. Number 10, the number 1 contenders for the Mid-South Tag Team Championship, Hector and Chavo Guerrero. This has been a review of the March 1985 issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the 1984 year in review. Thanks for watching.